Hey everybody, the Doctor here with Typical Manga Fan, and this episode of the Typical Manga Review is dedicated to Bleach, Chapter 661, My Last Words. Oh, but they will not be. Oswald has just appeared before Uryu and Ichigo. He's looking all smirky. Hi. He's like, Uryu tells him that he'll hold Oswald here, quickly make for the Sun Gate. But Oswald proves that the foresight is there because he's already destroyed them all. He's actually already destroyed all of those things. Like I told you, didn't I? I've seen how you'll respond. So, hang on. Things are being slow to load here.
So Haschel says he wants to do everything he can before Yuabok awakens, and then as everyone, Ichigo and Uryu are getting ready to fight, but then Uryu's like, wait a second, before Yuabok awakens, and he realizes that he remembers the whole they switched the powers, and then that's why it's like, oh, okay, he thinks that now Yuabok is weak, is vulnerable, and tells Ichigo to basically leave him behind and allow him to, and so that way he can attack Yuabok while he's sleeping or whatever, or at least has some powers. Which is like, wait, okay, so I'm sure he's not as powerful as he was with the Almighty, but Haschel's B powers balance, I don't think is any slouch. I think they're underestimating him right now.
Yeah. Of course, he's also allegedly asleep, so you'll never know here. We might see something going on there. But at the same time, this is as good a time as any to attack him.
Yeah, but might as well. So, but wait a second. If Haschel can see the future, can he see that too? See what's happening?
Well, like I said, this point does kind of get addressed a little bit here.
Okay.
But, so basically, Uryu sicks Ichigo after Yuwak. It's like, he's going to stay and fight. It's like, of course, it's like, don't worry, I have no intention of having such mundane words as I just said be my last. He's going to die.
Anyway, so basically, Ichigo rushes off, and then Haschel and Uryu take out their weapons, and then Uryu talks about fate, and he says, I think fate can be changed. And then Haschel talks about how Uryu is a different person, and he thinks like, oh, because you have like hope, under delusion there's light at the end of the tunnel, which is basically hope.
Yeah.
And then Uryu's like, well, you haven't seen this version of me, and that's all the glimmer of hope I need. And he's like, it looks like the powers of omniscience and omnipotence have yet to be fully grasped by you. This is where I thought that maybe Uryu might be using some of his A powers.
Well,
because he
I
was just thinking like Haschel should understand the A powers even if he doesn't have it all the time, because he's been with Yuabok for like most of his life. So
yeah, my understanding is like my takeaway from that was that maybe Oswald doesn't have complete mastery of the same way Yuwak does. Like maybe he's not completely omnipotent as he would like us to believe.
I feel like he would notice that. I feel like you would notice if you don't know everything, right? Because then you won't know you don't know everything. Then you know that you won't know everything.
Yeah, but you don't know something if you don't know if you don't know something until you realize you don't know it.
But I feel like even if you don't know it, you can at least know that you don't know it. Yeah. Because that doesn't take omnipotence. That just takes logic and common sense. You feel that you feel 99%. You don't feel 100%. But so anyway, so they begin to fight, and then we go back to Ichigo, Chad, and Orihime. I'm still asking myself, what the hell are these two doing?
Yeah, I know. Like I'll have to see with Chad later, but at this point, Orihime's pointing out that she's actually feeling better right now. Like she's actually a bit relieved because now that they know that Uryu actually never really went to their side. Like even though she kind of knew it, at the same time, it's still better to actually have been glad to have heard it.
Yeah, honestly though, it's talking about the audience. Who here actually thought that Uryu betrayed Ichigo? Like, who here actually thought that? I don't think anyone did. Nobody thought that. So it's just really annoying that they're making this such a big. They hyped this up for so long, and then they're just like, and they have Uryu be all like mysterious and quiet, and it just ends up being exactly the way we thought it was gonna be, but also having what I thought kind of not a very smart plan, because he said he was gonna destroy Varvelt, right? What exactly? Why would destroying the base do? Like, you're not killing. You see what the Steroider can do and what they can survive. I mean, you basically have God in there. I think he can survive the destruction of his home,
especially if he sees it coming.
Yeah. So, what's going on here?
Well, what's going on now is giant sand monsters.
Yeah, and they attack Orihime and Ichigo, and then Chad has to come in and block the attacks.
Hey, look, he's
And
doing something.
Well, here's the funny part about this. So he basically gives a thumbs up and says, basically, okay, you go on, blah blah blah. Or did he even say that?
Like, now then,
Oh
who
yeah,
wants
yeah,
to play
he
with
did.
me
No,
first?
he did say that. He did say that. He said just go. So he thumbs up. He gives a thumbs up, and then Ichigo leaves him, and then I don't even know what the hell. So Ganju comes in.
Yeah.
I don't understand why he's here. Like, what?
You wanna know
why
what's
did we waste
I know.
ages on this?
I mean, seriously, like, what's worse is Chad's moment of glory stolen by Ganju, of all people.
Well, I mean, like, they hyped Ganju up too. I mean, for Ganju was never that strong, so I never understood why they would hype him up. But they hyped him up regardless. And you know what? At the end of the day, they hyped him up for nothing, because they had this whole panel with him, obviously next to the Fullbringers, who, where the hell are they? And so they're just like, you know, they have some dialogue. I'm not gonna even bother to talk about what they're saying. It's just stupid dialogue. And then basically Chad's like, okay, well, we're gonna have to clear the way for them to get back. And so basically Chad is now a glorified janitor, along with Ganju.
Yeah.
And that is his whole purpose. His entire purpose is to be the guy who cleans up everything after the big battle is won. This is ridiculous.
His moment of usefulness is against faceless mooks.
That ultimately doesn't really matter if you think about it, because once you beat the final boss, you could just make it so like, oh, all the things that are out there die immediately. So
oh God, you're right.
Have to clear the way.
Oh
yeah,
God,
so
you're
he
right.
doesn't even have to clear the way. He doesn't even have to clear the way. You could just write it so that, oh, well, once Yubok dies, everything that's related to him dies too. Because he won't be. This is the Soul Palace under his control. So if he's dead or whatever, the Soul Palace is no longer under his control. So Chad is literally wasting his time.
I mean, it looks like all he's really doing is just keeping those guys away from Ichigo while he does the job. And again, that's his moment of usefulness, to stall against a faceless, nameless enemy that will go away as soon as the boss is actually beaten.
Yeah, it's just so because this whole plot is this is just a way to get rid of Chad. It's just a way to get rid of it. It's not even a glorified way. It's just, hey, you know, we gotta get rid of this guy somehow because he's useless as shit. So let's
just write up something quick and throw it at him.
I mean, that's what it feels like. That's what it looks like.
That's what it is.
Yeah, it is, because the Soul Pals guys, like, they're just there, and now they're, you know, Chad's taking them up. They could have never been there in the first place. You know, their effect on the plot is meaningless, is nothing. So this is really annoying, because I think this is just like, see, you know what I hate about Bleach's writing is more so than Naruto's you know, whole problem with how it kept contradicting itself a lot and over and again, and a lot of other bad manga that I read, is that Kubo's so unapologetic about it. He's like unafraid to he is so unafraid of doing exactly what he's doing, even though it's clearly, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't want to say it's that he's
maybe it's like this, like, it's like, even when the other guys are bad, they're at least still putting effort in.
Well, I mean, what I was about to say even when the criticism says otherwise, but the problem is I don't even know what the hell he hears in his ears. That's why I didn't say anything. I was like, wait, what does he actually hear from his critics? First off, I understand that critics is not something you want to read from, like, forum boards, but at the same time, though, how do you know how well your manga is doing other than sales? Because that doesn't mean anything if you think about it. It doesn't show you the quality. The quality just shows popularity, which he's just milking from, like, you know, Soul Society arc or Hueco Mundo arc or Ranker arc. Even the Hueco Mundo arc was way better than this. But it's just that he's so unapologetic about how he writes things. He doesn't seem to care that. Oh, well, let's face it. I think any dumb moron should know that Chad's being wasted. Even the Bleach fans who defend Bleach to a T, agree that Chad is just like, it's been destroyed by the writing doesn't care about him, right?
Right.
So I think it's safe to say that Kubo realizes that, because everyone knows that. Like, you know, even the fans know that. So the fact that he doesn't try to defend himself, or at least say, oh my gosh, you're right, I have been giving Chad like nothing to work with, let me do something for him really quick. At least it's no, he is literally glorifying him as a janitor. I mean, this is just so pathetic. He doesn't care. He is so shame. Okay, there we go. I found the word. He has no shame in not caring. That's what I want to say.
Yeah.
He has no shame in not caring. At least when people when people get called out for not caring, then you have others saying, "Look, no, you got me wrong," and they try to defend themselves to varying degrees of success. Kubo's like, "Yeah, I don't care. What are you gonna about it?" Like that's what he tells me. That's what he's telling me to my face. Oh yeah, I don't care anymore. But guess what? I'm still making money because a lot of the people still love what I do because they can't take the fact that I don't care anymore. What are you gonna do about it? I can do whatever the hell I want. It's that kind of writing. It's Michael Bay.
I'm TTFing Kubo.
I mean, it's Michael Bay. Like, Michael Bay doesn't care how bad he is because at the end of the day, he's gonna make money off it. It's the same thing. It's really the same thing with Kubo. It's like, well, people are still buying my shit, or at least, well, they're not even they're buying it specifically. They're buying they're buying the whole manga and the magazine, right? Or how do they rank them anyway? I don't know.
I know that they're shonen. They fight the main way the manga is out to Shonen Jump. The magazine's got them all as an anthology style. I know that people they get fan mail, postcards, things like that. So I'm sure that's part of it. I don't know the specifics how it gets measured beyond that, other than maybe like the volume sales.
Okay, yeah, because I know volume sales, but I know volume sales did drop after the Iran card. After the fake card Kurtan arc. I heard they went back up, but I feel like that's because of the ploy that he said, oh, this is the last one, so he gets all those people who gave out to be like, oh, well, I'll just be in it for one last time.
Yeah.
You know, that's how it's and then by the time they read it, they're like, well, I'm already too into it. I can't give up now. See, that's the thing. Like, people will. The numbers don't tell everything. You have to understand the psychology behind why you know these. Why did the numbers go up? Why did the numbers go down? What did he say? What changed? What were the changes? You know. And I just think, well, first off, Naruto's gone, so that immediately eliminates a big competitor.
Yep.
So, but I mean, it's just it's a little annoying that. Oh no, also from what people told me, Toriko has not been doing so well either.
It's getting really rushed.
Yeah.
It feels like they're rushing towards the end.
Yeah, so a lot of competitors are shooting this on the foot now, so that's probably why Bleach is exploiting it. But the thing, I'm just upset at how he has no shame in the fact that he doesn't care anymore. How he's unapologetic about it. Because no matter how you see it, he doesn't care about Chad. Chad was built to be a big character in the earliest parts of the manga, and I'm not saying and don't tell me that I'm reading too much into it. No, Chad was definitely built to be.
He was set up for it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even in Hoika Mundo, they made a big deal about the fact that his power was like a hollow. That was unique. Nobody else had that other than he had the Vizard, but he was like human with hollow powers.
See, it's not that I'm reading too much into it. It's that Kubo said, and this is the same thing with Orihime. He basically wrote out the fact. He planned out their the beginnings of their story and said and basically showed that they were going to be big players later on. She did that with Orihime when he said, "Oh, her powers are based on how resolved she is." And then Orihime's like, "I gotta become stronger." And Chad too. Chad. He also in that same arc, he was training with Renji, and he's like, "No, I have to be stronger. I have to improve." And so both of these players, I was about to say players. Both of these, because Sakura's in the background right now. But both of these characters were built to become stronger. They were built to have arcs that developed them to a point where they would be relevant to the plot. This is not me making something up or wanting something to happen. Kubo was telling us this was happening. They were literally saying out of their mouths, "I want to become stronger. I have to become stronger. I need to do this. I need to develop my. I need to do this and change myself. This much about myself."
And then Chad comes face to face with faceless, nameless sand monster. Like, yeah, this is my chance.
Yeah. And it happened again in the Fullbringer arc too, where Orihime is like, "I'm different than I was before," and same thing with Chad. It's like, "Oh, I'm working with the Fullbringers because I'm training, and I've realized what these powers are." So multiple times he basically says over and over again, "I'm going to do something with these characters because I keep writing them to say I'm going to become stronger."
Actually, question: is Chad still using anything related to Fullbring?
I think his powers is a Fullbringer power.
Okay.
It is. His powers are straight out Fullbringer. It's just really annoying though because, and of course in the same arc, in the Fullbringer arc, they became useless. So I'm just appalled at how. I mean, what is going to happen with Orihime? Is she going to be like, "Oh, I'll take care of this" or something? I mean, yes, she is the healer. She is the healer. But if she's the healer, why do you build up the fact that her power is based on how strong her resolve is?
Right.
Why do you say that? What is the? And also, isn't it character development that her resolve is weak at first, and that's why she has to be defensive? But as she grows stronger as a character, she understands that while you want to avoid fighting, sometimes you have to protect what you love most, and that's what she did with Tatsuki.
Yeah,
by the way, that's the first time she ever used her powers.
That's how she gets them.
Yeah, and that's the only time she actually killed something with her powers. By the way, so when that happens, she becomes extraordinarily powerful, and probably the most powerful of them all. That was said to us by Kubo, basically. Why did you say that if there was no build-up to it? I mean not build-up, no payoff to it. So see, a lot of people say, "Oh, we want Orihime to be something that she's not." No, Kubo said she was supposed to be this character, but she's not.
Hang on, I just recalled something here. Like I said, I follow like a couple of threads on here, and one of them. Let's see if I can find the actual post on here. But it kind of gave me a thought, like where it seemed like he had it planned out in the beginning, but then it kind of just turned into whoever was the fan favorite. And it made me wonder if like maybe the turning point was Ishin killing Grand Fisher.
Oh yeah, that was awful. That was a terrible payoff. I mean, the whole Ichigo had to have been there. No, he had to have been there. That had to resolve with the family, not with the freaking father out of nowhere. You know.
It says here like, if you're talking Arrancar, they were hyped up pre-SS arc. A shadowy group of them were turning Grand Fisher into one. Hollows in general were also portrayed as being incredibly numerous at that point. A versus Hollow army arc was being set up from the start. Really, I mean, they were the original enemy of the whole series. I mean, I know you're doing some low rehash story arc stick, but you have to admit the series was reasonably thought out in its early days compared to now. That was the post.
Yeah, and also I'd like to point out, and I noticed this in the Arrancar arc, but remember how Orihime's powers had personalities to them, individual personalities?
Oh, right, they were individual fairies, right?
Yeah. Obviously something was supposed to be. What was the point of doing that if you don't even like that's never even been addressed? Like they never ever talk again. Like literally after like the Soul Society arc, I mean they're there. They're still have powers, but you never see them talk or show any of their personalities again. They have literally blended into the background. Literally blended into the background. I mean you're just like, oh, that's background stuff.
Yeah, that's just her using her powers.
Yeah, so, and interestingly enough, her powers themselves have become bland. Literally. As characters, they become bland, and as powers, they have become bland. It is amazing how, it is almost poetic. It's almost a masterpiece on how Kubo manages to make this, all just fall apart. Because it's just done. It's just like so perfectly. You don't even try to find these mistakes or these problems. It just happens. I mean,
we don't have to work for it.
And I'm sure at this point, anyone's like listening to this one, I may sound like a hater, but it's because I generally loved this series when I first watched it, and this was independent of what I knew about how popular it was outside of my house. Like I was just watching, I'm like, oh my god, this is good, and I'm watching it, and I actually gave it a lot. When I stopped liking it, wasn't actually the end of the Soul Society arc. It was probably the middle of the Wekamundo arc. I mean, the Orihime thing was kind of like, but I was willing to let that go.
Yep.
But it was the middle of the Wekamundo arc, I think, was when I just said, okay, this is getting ridiculous.
I think for me, it was like, honestly, it was roughly more around the Soul Society arc. I just kind of started, well, yeah, because like, I've always said, like, my biggest issue with Bleach at that point was like, they introduced too many characters too fast.
Yeah, oh, definitely. I remember being okay past the Grimjaw fight. I think it was a Noitora fight when I just started saying, this is getting stupid. Mm-hmm. Because it was just like, oh, Orihime's useless again. Ichigo is getting pummeled, and it's like, and what was it? Oh yeah, and then I started noticing the whole reusing the character archetype stuff, and it just got really ridiculous. And oh, by the way, there's a really funny thing about I just came up remember this, but there was actually one major thing that I think a lot of people missed about Ulquiorra and Yami, is that the thematic reason for why they were introduced first was because Yami was introduced first, and why their ranks was shown eventually. Well, specifically Yami, was because it was to show that despite how strong he was and how much Ichigo had trouble dealing with him because of his, obviously also because of his powers going crazy, he was the weakest one. And then Ulquiorra showed that he was number 4 because despite him basically bitch slapping Ichigo the entire time, he says, you've come far, but even me, I'm not the strongest. You have no chance.
And then Ulquiorra becomes like his final fight.
Yeah, first, Ulquiorra shows his has the second stage, which apparently that Aizen didn't know about, and from what I can tell, it basically makes him roughly the strongest, if not around that level. So it undermines that. So it takes away that.
And that's not even. And then you get into Yami and his zero spot bullshit.
And then Yami was the strongest. So you undermine the entire supposed reason for why their numbers were released or were made public.
Right.
Was because it was to show that despite all the troubles that Ichigo had with these guys, he's still not strong enough. And now he's telling me, oh, well, turns out he was. They weren't really as tough as we thought they were. They were. So what that does is it makes the other Sparta look weak. That's what it does. And well, they were kind of because they got screwed. And they got screwed over really bad. I mean, it was just Hachi beats Paragon.
Yeah.
Kyoraku beats.
Well, I liked how. I do like how Baragon got beaten, like how it happened. So I have no issue with that.
Well, actually, I would have liked it if it was just at the end of the second nuke, because then I was like, okay, that's cool. But then he used this whole bullshit. Oh well, your powers don't work when you're inside. Like that's such a bullshit reason. No one would ever think of that type of weakness, because no one would think that would be a weakness at all. Like how is it you're not affected by your powers? Because it just isn't. Okay, in shonen, anime, and manga, that question never comes up because you just assume that they're immune to their powers. That's like a general rule. So now they actually make it relevant. It's like, well, that makes no sense. But the whole nuke thing, that was like, okay, no matter how fast you can age it, you can't age an explosion, and even if you could, you're still in it, so you're still experiencing it.
This explosion has been well aged since World War II. It's got a touch of the nuclear, but also a little bit of a Bikini Island.
Yeah, so I mean there you go. So that's my little brand of Bleach. I kind of made it longer than I should, but whatever.
My biggest two issues were with the end with Chad. Like one, his moment of glory is like fighting nameless, faceless enemies when we've had like 20 plus guys he could have fought. And his moment of glory is stolen by Ganju. Ganju. There is no excuse to lose your moment. There is no excuse for you to lose your moment of glory to that guy. He is comic relief, even if he is useful.
I don't understand what Ganju's there. Is it for comic relief? Because I mean, you had this really actually pretty cool panel of him like turning his back with, and you see the other 2 Fullbringers or 3 Fullbringers with him, and you're like, oh well, is he training with them? Is he gonna do something great? Nope, he's just gonna help out being the backup crew, the janitor crew, cleanup crew. I just can't. You know what? I'm just gonna say this right now. I want Aizen to come back. I don't care what he does. Just make him come back, because at least he can do something more than this.
Yep.
Okay. Anyway.
But yeah, it's like this. I mean, you have hit new lows when those are your 2 big moments of the arc. That's just the end of it right there.
Yeah.
Right. And with that, we are at our end of our review of Bleach, chapter 661. My last words. And go ahead and give him your last word.
Go to hell, Kubo.
I was actually thinking of bye, but okay.